On our 20th wedding anniversary, my husband tapped his champagne glass, a smirk curling on his lips, and said words that cut deeper than any knife could. "This is Linda, my starter wife." The room erupted in laughter. Glasses clinked. Colleagues whispered. I smiled, but inside, something snapped. 22 years ago, Daniel had nothing but ambition. I had stability. Together, we built a life from scraps. Late nights, and small sacrifices no one noticed. I paid the apartment deposit. I covered groceries. I funded his first business plans out of my small retirement account. And he called me his rock. Tonight, he called me replaceable. I could feel the whispers of everyone around me. Starter wife. The words echoed in my mind like a relentless drumbeat. My blood boiled quietly. I wasn't about to cry. I wasn't about to confront him in front of everyone. Not yet. Instead, I observed. I noted every glance, every smirk, every whisper. That night, as the city lights blurred past the car window, he said casually, "It was a joke. Don't be dramatic. Dramatic." He didn't know I wasn't joking. That wasn't the night to cry. That was the night I decided something he could never take away. I stared out the window, silent, plotting my next move. The next morning, I realized that his joke was more than humiliation. It was a mistake. He would never forget. The next day, I started looking at everything differently. I reviewed our finances, our legal papers, and the small investments I had made in his fledgling consulting firm. I remembered every sleepless night, every late phone call when he panicked, and every proposal I had typed while he complained about being tired. It wasn't about revenge yet. It was about recognition. I began to understand that the law was on my side. My retirement funds had seeded the company. Every dollar I had quietly contributed meant I had ownership he had forgotten. I spent hours reading the documents, the operating agreement, initial capital proofs, emails, even texts, messages where he admitted I was integral to the business. All of it laid bare the foundation he had assumed was invisible. And then I followed him. One Thursday evening, the young woman from the party, the one he smiled at that night, joined him at a restaurant. Their closeness confirmed what I already suspected. I didn't yell. I didn't confront. I collected evidence. I let the calmness in my chest grow heavier than his arrogance. That weekend, I made an appointment with a divorce attorney. A woman my age, sharp, meticulous, who smiled when I handed her the folders. "Starter wife?" she asked. "Nadad." She smiled, differently strategically. That was the beginning of my silent plan. He thought he was untouchable, but he had forgotten the quiet. Wife is often the most dangerous. Daniel filed for divorce first. Expected drama. Expected begging. Expected tears. He wanted control. He wanted her. Instead, I counterfiled, with a claim not only for half the business valuation, but proof of my financial contribution, the accountant's calculations, the operational emails, and even the night I stayed late, fixing his business proposal. They were all laid out neatly. The mediation room was silent when he saw my folder. "Linda, you can't be serious. he whispered, eyes wide. I was, more than ever. I watched him squirm while the lawyer calmly explained ownership rights. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't lecture. She just showed facts, laid out the evidence, and let his ego crumble. 3 months of quiet planning, late nights reviewing documents, and watching him flaunt what he thought was his success had led to this exact moment. I had stayed invisible, collected proof, and built a strategy stronger than his arrogance. By the end of the mediation, Daniel realized the truth. I wasn't the starter wife. I was a silent partner in every sense. He underestimated me. That mistake would cost him everything he thought he owned. The settlement included a buyout of my share, not the house. Akar, nalamoni. But the company, my hard-earned work, my quiet investments, and my sacrifices now officially acknowledged. The day the funds hit my account, I didn't celebrate loudly. I didn't post online. I sat at my kitchen table, coffee won the numbers, feeling calm, powerful, and justified. I wasn't angry anymore. I was weak. Patience is stronger. Strategy is strongest. Months later, I heard Daniel had stepped down from the company. Investors were nervous. Contracts shifted. The young woman moved away. Life had consequences, whether you acknowledge them or not. Every time someone asks about that night at the promotion party, I smile quietly. The laughter that humiliated me, it echoed back to him in ways he would never forget. But the lesson wasn't just about revenge, it was about owning your worth. Revenge doesn't always explode. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it's silence backed by proof. Sometimes it's walking away while watching the consequences unfold. Daniel sent an email weeks ago. I made mistakes. I miss what we had. I hope you're happy. I didn't respond. Not out of bitterness. Out of peace. I realized something important. I was never the beginning. I was never replaceable. I was the foundation. The quiet, invisible work that supports the life above it. And foundations are never optional. I rebuilt my life on my terms. Investments, personal projects, independence. The power of the quiet wife was no longer theoretical, it was real. Tangible and undeniable. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't need validation. The law, logic, and patience did it for me. Now, when I see people underestimate me, I smile. They call me the starter wife. I know the truth. I was the foundation. And he learned that every empire built on arrogance eventually falters when it forgets who laid the first stone. And this is just the beginning of the stories I could tell about silent power, quiet revenge, and lessons people never forget. So subscribe the channel for more real revenge and women transformation stories.